This is Bri Murray, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Doc Bri, the Physics Guy. Hi everyone, and welcome to my latest blog. This one's on black holes. Now, I'd originally planned to do this as a fairly short one, but as can sometimes happen, you get a bit carried away, and before you know it, especially in my case, I'm off on one, and this is one of those occasions. So this is now part one of a two-parter on black holes. I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments where you begin to wonder if you've gone insane. It occasionally happens to me, and usually when I'm watching the news. And just recently, we were shown a picture of a black hole, and there was a whopping big news event broadcast simultaneously all over the world where they showed the first picture of a black hole. I think somebody's bidding for a Nobel Prize here. Anyway, I've got a couple of issues with this one. Sadly, for me, the artist's impression of what a black hole might look like was far more interesting and cooler than the actual picture of the black hole I was shown. See, I'd been bombarded with it in the media for a couple of days leading up to the announcement, and the image that the artist had put together on this occasion completely outstripped reality. The second for me is the idea of black holes. They exist. We've all seen a picture of a black hole now, so they must exist. All the great thinkers say so. All physicists agree. Given this coverage about black holes, you could easily be mistaken for thinking that black holes are real and exist. In fact, you'd be a fool not to, I reckon. These days, a day doesn't pass without there being something about another supermassive black hole that's being spotted out in this galaxy or that galaxy. Every surprise that the universe throws at us has something to do with black holes. But like I've said before, as soon as you hear all physicists agree, get sceptical. Physicists don't agree on anything, and black holes are not different. There are dissenting voices, and some of them are very plausible, and I find myself wondering if maybe they might be right. What evidence is there for black holes? What are the theories? I mean, do we even need them to exist? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in this blog. But first, a quick summary of the state of play. Sir Isaac Newton published Principia, a work in 3 books, on the 5th of July 1687, and it's rightly regarded as one of the most important works in the history of science, and it contains a law of gravity. I've got a copy here. Obviously, it's not the original. Well, for one thing, the original was in Latin, apparently. I studied Latin at school for 2 years when I was a kid, and he managed to make it so excruciatingly dull that I scored a whopping 9% in the end-of-year exam. So, some of it was multi-choice, so I should have scored higher by just guessing. That's how bad I was at Latin. Anyway, back to Newton. He realised that the force of gravity is related to the mass of an object. The more mass, the greater the gravitational force. Why is this so? Well, he didn't say. So, do we know now? Well, no, actually, we still don't. Moving on. 1783. Geologist John Mitchell writes to the Royal Society to point out that a really big sun would have a really big gravity, so big in fact that not even light could escape should light fall under the rules of gravity. And in 1796, Laplace promotes the same idea in the first couple of editions of his book, and then chickened out and had it removed from later editions. I've got to say, Laplace, if you're going to put forward a daft idea, have the bottle to see it through, eh? On this occasion, it wasn't such a daft idea. Not much happened in the 18th and 19th century, and then comes along Albert Einstein. Einstein and general relativity. 1915. Albert Einstein develops his theory of general relativity, a geometric theory of gravitation. I say develops, though completes is probably a better word because he'd been working on it for almost 10 years. Einstein realised that it might be possible to describe the universe in a rather odd way using equally odd mathematics. The mathematics turns out to be mind-numbingly complex. Fortunately, the ideas themselves are not really that complex, and so we can understand the physics without being able to do the maths, which is as it should be. Space-time an idea also dreamt up by Albert Einstein, I mean the dude was on a roll for sure, can actually be considered to behave a little like a giant rubber sheet pulled tight. See, there's not much in the universe, it's mostly nothing, and so the sheet is flat. Now when you get near a star, the sheet gets a little warped. Imagine like placing a weight on a trampoline, it distorts the surface, same idea. Why does it behave like this? I'm not sure anybody really knows. Now years earlier, a really clever mathematician called Bernard Riemann had spent some time working out the maths of geometric surfaces. Einstein applied this work to his ideas and bingo, you've got general relativity. In other words, general relativity is a mathematical model of how surfaces change their shape when you distort them. And this can be applied to the universe. Einstein was able to develop a series of 10 equations, now known as the Einstein field equations, which describe how gravity actually came about from the distortion of space-time by matter and energy. See, energy is just the equivalent of mass thanks to E equals mc squared. And who came up with that beauty? Einstein. The dude was on fire. It wasn't long before people began to realise that these equations had the potential to do some strange things, and they began to wonder what this might actually mean in the physical world. I mean, did it mean anything? Trying to figure it out was difficult, partly because the maths was difficult, but also there was no chance of testing any of this in a lab, at least not in those days. I mean, take gravity waves. Einstein argued in 1916 that they should exist. These are waves that travel at the speed of light and would be produced in a binary star system, for example. A binary star system being two stars very close together in orbit around each other, and such things do exist in nature. For more than 40 years, people weren't sure if Einstein was even right about his idea of gravity waves. It was only in 1957 when Richard Feynman put forward a thought experiment that people thought that maybe it's right. I mean, this had something to do with the fact that Feynman was one of the best theoretical physicists of his day, so his ideas carried weight. But here's the thing, do gravity waves exist? I mean, until 2016, no experiment had proved their existence, so it could still be wrong. Well, not if LIGO is to be believed, but we'll have more on that another day. Back to the black holes. The next thing we need to think about is escape velocity. Back on Earth, we decide we want to send someone to the moon. The problem is that gravity is determined to stop us from leaving. It's like it loves us and doesn't want us to go anywhere. We throw a stone up and it comes back down. What goes up must come down, right? But what happens if you throw it really fast? It goes higher and takes longer to come back down. So throw it really, really fast, so fast that it gets high enough that gravity can no longer pull it back. The speed we need to throw it so that gravity doesn't pull it back is known as the escape velocity. We find that the escape velocity is related to gravity. The greater the gravity, the faster we have to go to escape. It's easier to escape from the moon's gravitational pull than the Earth's. Although an atmosphere complicates escape velocity, to escape the Earth requires a massive Saturn V rocket. The rocket that blasts off from the moon was tiny in comparison. And this is because the moon has far less mass and so far less gravity. The sun, on the other hand, has a large escape velocity, about 620 kilometres a second. That's over 200,000 kilometres an hour. Now, Newton told us that as we get further away from something, gravity gets smaller. Double the distance, the gravity is only a quarter. Make it 5 times the distance and the gravity is only 1/25. Now keep that in mind. Imagine taking something like the sun and pushing other things like large planets and things into it more and more and more, so it starts to get more massive. And this, according to Einstein, warps space-time, which increases the gravity, which crushes the sun. But the sun is full of hot gases which push back against the gravity. But we keep going more and more, so the space-time gets more and more warped and gravity gets greater and greater, crushing the sun even more. And the escape velocity starts to climb 1,000 kilometres a second, 10,000 kilometres a second, 100,000 kilometres a second. And this goes on and on until you've got the Mr. Creosote of a sun with the escape velocity of 300,000 kilometers a second. The gases keep pushing back, but eventually they haven't got enough fuel to continue the struggle. At 300,000 kilometers per second, something interesting happens. We've managed to get gravity so big that the escape velocity would be faster than the speed of light. So even light can't escape because it's not going fast enough. What would happen then? What would happen to a star with that much mass? And can such a thing exist? The secret of what happens next are held in the Einstein field equations, which is mentioned are a little bit difficult to understand. But that's not some of the braver souls out there from having a go. And we'll get to that next time. I hope you enjoyed listening to this one, and I'll see you soon. This is Dr. Bry, the Physics Guy. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Bry, the Physics Guy. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, can you share it with your friends, your fellow students, and anyone you think might be interested? That'd be great, and you'd be doing me a massive favour. Subscribe now so that you don't miss out on the latest episodes and news. And check out my website right now at drbry.com. That's drbry.com. And for a limited time, I'm giving away the first part of my 7 ingredients course. It's absolutely free. There's almost 40 minutes of free video explaining the course and why you have what it takes to do physics and how it can change your life forever. And there's also a free download that you can keep. All the details are on my website. I'm also on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, and all the details are there on drbry.com. drbry.com. I look forward to seeing you soon.